funny because people, when I first meet them, they say, "Oh my gosh, your name's Amelia Earhart. Are you related to the first Amelia?" And I say, "No, not by blood." And then they say, "Well, what does that mean?" And I say, when the conversation continues, of course, I'm not related to Amelia Earhart in a family tree per se. I'm related to her because I choose to relate to her. I relate to her drive and passion for adventure. I relate to that spirit to go out and do what nobody else has the guts to do. And that's back in the 1930s, to fly around the world. So few people, let alone women, had done anything that bold. And
Right.
so that's how I relate to her. And I don't think that my flight was anywhere close to being as dangerous or challenging as the original Amelia flight. It was more of a symbolic do it for Amelia kind of trip. But I think that there was enough of a challenge to it to where I feel like she and I really do have the same spirit.
Did you ever feel pressure to become a pilot?
Yeah, every single day. And
Really?
every single day to this day in my life, I feel the pressure to fly. And that's actually, it's sort of a new feeling that I'm grappling with in terms of where do I go after the flight around the world, right? As I completed my flight in 2014, and I still fly to this day, and I've got my commercial license. I've got, additional ratings I want to work on with my multi-engine ratings and things like that. But the pressure to fly and the pressure to stay simply within aviation, just aviation, is
Right.
really, really strong. And it's something that I talk to my audiences about quite a bit, that feeling of being typecast, right? Just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean that you can't be good at a number of others. And so I've got all sorts of things I want to explore,
Right.
but sometimes I hesitate. Can Amelia Earhart host a cooking show someday? Can Amelia Earhart design a clothing line? Can Amelia Earhart become a yoga instructor? Because I think, oh, will that not make sense for people? Do they only want to see
Right.
me in an airplane?
Well, I will 100% tune in to the Amelia Earhart cooking show.
Yes.
So you let me know what channel that's airing on. Well, according to the Airline Pilots Association, women only make up 5% of its 53,000 members. As a female pilot and a member of that 5%, what challenges have you faced aside from people's ignorance? Because, I mean, it is ignorance.
The challenge that I face is when I say I fly airplanes, people go, "Oh my goodness, that's so special, and oh, that's so cute, and oh my gosh, you poor thing, do you get tired up there? Can you fly the airplane by yourself?" And nobody says that to a man.
Right,
If a man says, "I fly airplanes," they go, "Oh, which airline do you fly for?"
right.
And that's the end of it.
No, nobody would ever try and make it like it's a cute thing. Like, oh, a man is flying a plane. How cute. What kind of plane is it? It's just so ridiculous and so
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's the real reason behind my foundation. That's why I want to give girls the funds to fly so that they can increase that number,
Right.
because 5% is unacceptable.
How old were you the first time that you piloted a plane?
My very first flight lesson, I was 21 years old. And the reason I waited so long was because mom and dad and the rest of the family didn't have the funds to put me through flight school. It's a very expensive process.
Right.
So I saved up for that first lesson, and it happened in Boulder, Colorado. And from that very first lesson, which was not an ideal setting, it was kind of an old plane. It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't glamorous. The instructor was just kind of this grumpy old man. And all of that disappeared as soon as we took off. And so I felt like I could see the potential in that. I didn't know what direction it would go. And I certainly didn't know that I would fly around the world someday in that moment. But that's when I
Right.
knew I was hooked.
Did you feel like this is where I'm supposed to be? Like
Oh, yeah.
aside from the way the plane looked, the grumpy instructor, did you feel like you sat down and you were like, wow, this is comfortable?
Oh, yeah. I felt at total ease in the airplane, which isn't the case for everyone, right? Flying small airplanes, it can be nerve wracking and it can feel dangerous. But for me, I felt that distance between where I was flying in the air and the ground. And that really put things into perspective for me. Amelia's got this beautiful quote. The original Amelia Earhart said, "You've never seen a tree until you've seen its shadow from the sky." And
Wow.
to me, it gives me chills. And I say that out loud because it's true. The perspective that flying gives you allows you to step back and say, you know what, the little things don't matter as much,
Mhm.
but the big things like family and love and connection, those things really matter. And that's what I really think about a lot when I'm up there in the cockpit.
So, lastly, August is What Will Your Legacy Be month, and it's a month for people to reflect on their actions and vow to make positive changes that will affect generations to come. So, your Fly with Amelia Foundation honors that theme by giving young women the opportunity to obtain their private pilot's license. Aside from completing your historic flight and starting this phenomenal foundation, what do you want your legacy to be?
Gosh, if it's outside of flying and it's outside of the foundation, I just want it to be kindness. I want every person that I meet to feel listened to. I want them to feel welcome and appreciated for who they are and not what they are supposed to be or should be eventually, but just who they are in that very moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I am constantly a work in progress, right? Just like everyone else. And so that is, for some people, maybe a boring answer that I want my legacy to be kindness. But
Not
when
at
it
all.
comes down to it, that's what people remember is how you made them feel. And that's why I want to hear everybody's story. And when I go and I walk into an event and I've got a speaking engagement and there's 500 people in the room, I do my best to move around and walk through those crowds and say, you're going to hear my story once I'm up on stage. Let's not spend our time talking about flying. I want to hear about you. Tell me what struggles you're going through. What's it like to work in your company or go to this school or participate in this event? And I feel so much more comfortable on stage when I look out and I see that friendly smile of somebody that I've had a great conversation with. And so I would say it's kindness.
Amelia, again, thank you so much. For more information, of course, be sure to visit Amelia Rose Earhart's speaker page on eaglestalent.com.